Tom Brady is going to miss a very valuable time at training camp right now. Obviously, he has 7 of those rings. His have grown from little small baby Super Bowl rings to obviously entire mansion rings down in Tampa Bay. This is a big deal. They said it's personal. They knew it before camp started. So what does that mean? It had to be something that was planned out then. So this isn't a surprise situation, which I think is good news. They're doing joint practices with the Dolphins right now. Very surprised by this, AJ, especially at the quarterback position, especially Tom Brady. What are your thoughts on it all, AJ?
Well, I think the surprising thing was, that it was already planned. I read Todd Bowles, what he said after practice, whenever he spoke with the media. He said, we knew this coming in, like we've known this a while ago, and he feels comfortable with Tom's experience and all this, that he'll come back, but he's not coming back till after August 20th, correct?
Yeah, yep. But then there was a follow-up about, like, hopeful for the first game of the season. It's like,
what does that mean?
Yeah. Good question.
I don't know.
Does anybody have? I mean, I hope everything's all right. This is weird that they had to plan this too, and all of a sudden now we're here. Like, I don't know.
Because you would think maybe, and this sounds, we don't want to assume anything. We have no idea if this is what it is, but natural reactions like, a family member must have got sick, something must have just came out of nowhere that was very drastic, and saying, no, we knew going into camp. It's like, okay, well, that kind of rules that out. This is massive. Did they know it was going to be in the middle of the joint practices? Because everybody calls these like training camp practices. And, like Rappaport will be joining us in 5 minutes. I don't think he's still down there. Was this known yesterday? Like, was this how long has this been talked about? AJ?
Yeah, who all has known other than Tom and maybe Todd Bowles that Tom was going to leave after the first 2 weeks of camp?
AQ Shipley will join us in the third hour. He obviously has deep connections down there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think he knows shit about fuck, but we do know that anything that comes out, he will get blamed for.
That's right.
So we might as well have him on the show to hear what he fucking has to say. You know what I mean?
He definitely has the answers.
Yeah,
he knows.
Yeah, and if he doesn't have the answers and somebody else has the answers, it will be, AQ Shipley.
He was pointing at it.
How about that last year when AQ
That was
Shipley
awesome.
was outed as the guy that said BA and Tom Brady hate each other?
Yeah. They found the leak.
Well, Rich Warrenberg.
How's that happen?
Well, because his college teammate 12 years ago was the one that told the story. So it was obviously AQ Shipley that did that. And I understand that AQ was friends with that guy, is friends with that guy. But if AQ's just giving out inside stories like that, and he's not giving them to me, I mean, I was the best man in his wedding. He was very close to my wedding. I understand he and Rich, good college teammates, and I think he's good. But if he knows we're on every single day and he didn't give that to me, fuck AQ.
We got a problem with
that. Yeah, that is. So that was why we took such, good interest in that story happening, because it was like, I guess got to cut AQ Shipley out of the wedding photos. That's all. No, I'm joking, but I'm excited to hear what he has to say, because Blaine Gabbert is obviously OG. He's loved down there. He'll do a great job. He's obviously not Tom Brady. Nobody is. They might be set up for this, but that's a big deal, I think. Personally, I think that is a big deal. Allegedly, Tom Brady and Todd Bowles were talking about him missing maybe 9 days in the middle of training camp during joint practices. That's the information that's coming out right now. Todd Bowles knew this was going to take place, so this means it was planned. It wasn't like out of nowhere some medical emergency took place. It's going to be at least 9 days, they're saying. What happened here, and is Tom okay? That's literally the most important thing. And then let's kind of dive into the deeper of it that you understand of it.
Okay, so here's everything I understand about this. It was planned. No one is worried. He's fine. It's not, to my knowledge, it is not a medical emergency related to him, or I believe anyone close to him. I was told everything is okay. The best description I got about this was that it is important to find a work-life balance. Kind of like we were just talking about. Not saying I'm like the greatest quarterback of all time, but I'm just saying finding a work-life balance is extremely important. Brady has been doing this for 23 years. He knows the scheme as well as anyone. He wasn't going to play in those 2 games anyway. So he steps aside to, it sounds like, do some actual personal things, family things, and let the other guys get the reps.
Like a baseball tournament for his son or something?
Yeah, did they sign up? Oh, so when he was retired, they signed up to do something, obviously. That's what happened here?
I don't know specifically, but my guess is just judging from the people I've spoken with that you're kind of in the right area. Like there is a family thing that I believe is happening that is good.
He promised Giselle.
Yeah, bingo.
He promised Giselle, he promised the family, we'll do this. And then when he decided to come back, there was an immediate, hey, we've been waiting to do this for literally 20 years at this point. And it's Okay, so that makes sense.
I don't know. I don't know that for sure, but putting all the pieces together and understanding what it's like to have a wife and a family, if that was the case, that would make some sense.
All right, well, congrats to Tom and the family.
Yeah.
There you go, Tom.
Congrats to Tom and the family, holding true on that. I'm intrigued by it because how many people knew, you think? That came out of nowhere, right? I mean, this came out of nowhere?
I mean, I feel like I'm somewhat good at this, and I was there literally yesterday, and the only thing I got vaguely was someone calling me last night at like 9 and being like, call me at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And that was when practice started, and it was like, Brady's not here. And I was like, yes, I'm aware. But that's the only like vague thing. Everyone else who I talked to knew, and everyone kept it quiet. Everyone.
I think my favorite part of this whole thing is there's somebody trying to become a source for you, and they just weren't fucking good enough.
Nope.
Hey, I know. All right, shut up. Bring me something when you got something. Sorry about it. Go ahead, AJ.
Ian, I saw where Todd Bowles talked about, they've been talking about this for a long time now, and Tom wanted to come in and get the first couple weeks to build rapport. Is this something that he could have missed the first 2 weeks and then come in? Like, there's a timing. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I feel like the first 2 weeks was more important than the preseason games. Because, like, I mean, if you think about it, we've seen people come in and quarterbacks get the reps, they do the joint practices, and then they don't play in the preseason games, and that's fine, right? So Tom wasn't going to play anyway, so the thing was the 2 weeks are more important, so stay for that when the games come, and it's going to be off day, walk through, like, take that away, and then be back when it counts.
Okay, so we're all learning about this as it goes, as is Ian Rappaport, who we're speaking to, the man who is... his duty is to serve the NFL people with information. No, he doesn't know anything about this particular one with the greatest player of all time in the middle of training camp.
I mean, a little insight.
Hey, it does feel like we kind of pieced some things together there because we were trying to rack our brains on what this could have been. That is really the only thing that actually makes sense whenever you think about him being a human as well as being a quarterback and also being retired for a certain amount of days where things could potentially get planned out and then being like, I have to, my family has given me a lot. I said I was going to do this when I wasn't playing. We're all happy I'm coming back, right? Yeah, if we are, I have to do that. I would like you to just spill everything you know right now so there's none of those situations potentially in the future. You have a lot of friends back with the Bucs. Tom Brady leaving for 9 days in the middle of training camp. Ian Rappaport kind of clarified it a little bit earlier. He might have, we don't know if this is real or not, but we're just kind of assuming, he might have agreed to a trip with his family in the middle of training camp whenever he was retired, and it was kind of a part of the whole thing when he came back. You don't have to tell us what you're hearing in that front, but did the players know this was happening, do you think, in your eyes? Did other coaches know this was happening? It kind of came out of nowhere, and what do you think Blaine Gabbert's going to do with this now that he's kind of the guy for at least the next week and a half?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody knew about it. I mean, I'm sure anything that happened was between Todd and Tom, and he's obviously reserved that right, being the greatest to ever do it and being the ultimate professional, and knowing that, here in 2-3 weeks or whatever, when he decides to come back, like, he's going to, trust me, he's going to be running, he's going to be working out, he's going to be watching film, he'll be ready to roll, and he knows that system inside and out, obviously. As for Blaine's the ultimate professional. He's got so much respect around the league, and definitely in that locker room. Those guys love him. They're going to play for him. They're going to play hard for him, and he'll be able to kind of captain that ship and run that ship until Tom comes back.
What do you think it's going to be like when he's gone? Like, with the receivers, Julio Jones comes to the team this year, different things like that. Like, do you think it'll take more time for him to build rapport with them, having these 10 days off, whatever he's doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably will, but I think ultimately, like, I'm telling you, he's so good at when he comes back at getting that extra work. And you saw it, I mentioned it, whenever Antonio came to the team, what he was doing with him in between periods. So I'm sure he'll be doing a lot of the same stuff. He'll have to get back up to speed with, Mike when he comes back off his little minor injury, and then with Julio and Russell and all the other guys. But trust me, when he comes back, he'll be full steam ahead and grabbing those guys in between periods and working on timing, working on different things that he wants to work on, getting ready for week 1.
So this is not that big of a deal, although it is very abnormal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's different. But again, like, if there's one guy that you want to be dealing with this with on any team, on any roster, it's that guy on that team with that roster.
Yeah, be who you can afford to be. Blaine Gabbert will be able to fill in. I don't think they'll have to, just restart periods every single day because Blaine Gabbert has no idea what he's doing. So hopefully they'll be able to get effective work. And when Tom comes back, we'll all be happy.